Hello guys, this is Nomad Millennial where the adventure begins. I want to talk about why I always compare myself from years ago. I realized it this year uh, that the only way I can make improvements in my life and to get my life back together is compare myself from years ago. I started to look into retrospective about the mistakes I made in the last 10 years. I decided to look through what my life has been in the last decade so I can uh, make a big picture about myself, my life as an adult, and start to work from there um, to make the proper corrections so I can move forward in my life. Um, it's tough to acknowledge those mistakes because we may think that we can be considered as a weak or we can have change or even lost respect for others only for a minute that we make a mistake or we even more a costly mistake. So we prefer to keep our mistake for ourselves in most cases. However, we need to acknowledge those mistakes so we can identify our problem or problems. So we start to understand in deep who we are and then start to work to reverse such situation. Because if you even know the amount of the mistakes you are doing, but if you're not fixing then you got a problem because life will continue in that emotional roller coaster where you may not be able to get out of there. Do the constant bounce in making the same mistakes all the time. So it's okay to make a mistake first once. However, you make the same mistake again, you have a problem because that means that not only something wrong with you, but also um, there is a big problem in your life that you need to solve. Yeah, and that's when life gets complex. That's when you need to go back even years ago to identify the problem um, and see what happened back then and how that affect your performance or at work, college, how that wasn't detrimental to your personal skills and your interpersonal communication skills and your communication skills and your self confidence and your prospects um, and when it comes to get a job, to have relationships of any kind, and even to have a plan in the long run, because it's not simple to acknowledge mistakes and solve them. It takes time to solve some of them. Many of them even come from your childhood, so you may not even know or realize that you have been carrying on that way so long that you don't even understand why life is your life has been so wrong. But when you acknowledge that, then you can move forward. Obviously, I didn't know to move over 10 years ago. I just did it the last 10 years ago. Um, so I could make a self-analysis or self-reflection about it. And I realized that I made a lot of mistakes for a couple of reasons. Number one, for ignorance in personal finances. That uh, hurt my job prospects, that hurt my education and prospects as well. That was the reason why I dropped out of college the first time in another country, and eventually had to drop out for the second time as well in college. Now here in this country for the last 5 years, I dropped out of college last year. So uh, imagine the consequences of in making such a decision here. And the second one, because lacking mentors along the way. I didn't have mentors in my early 20s. I was all the way alone, but without mentors to guide me through. That kind of thing would have made life very much easier to have the right mentors at the right time. I didn't have them before. Now I have them in different ways, such as podcasts, books, biographies, um, videos, even music as well. Uh, but I didn't have that back then. Yeah. So I was alone, but without kind of proper guidance to um, address my problems, address my challenges ahead of me. So I wasn't able to respond to those challenges, to overcome those obstacles, and I had to release too much on someone else to uh, keep me up with life, because otherwise I would be just screw myself in the process, um, making even worse decisions. But fortunately, I didn't make a big mistake that I couldn't even reverse that. I was able to reverse all those things along the way, and it took me years to fix all of them. And I noticed that was a problem with me, and I fixed it. Um, and now I don't have to be worried about it because it doesn't affect me anymore. Okay, someone told me like probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, once I moved out here. So I stopped being worried about the past at a certain point. But I still look at mistakes. Also, I compare myself from years ago so I can see how much progress I have made during those years. And certainly I have made a lot of progress. Back years ago, I was living with my parents. Now I live by myself. Back 9 years ago, I was still living with my parents, and now I live by myself. Back 8 years ago, I was living half a year with my parents, and later with my mother. Now I live by myself. And then for the last, I would say, last 7 years ago, last 6 years, I lived with my mother back home, and then in this country until just I decided to part ways, and I decided to do my own thing, go my own way, to live my own life, to live by myself. Um, and for me, the decision to go on my own way implied to move out to another state, so I could heal myself. I could discover who I really was, or am these days, because I didn't even know about my potential, how much I can do by myself. I had to learn about those things. I was able to apply minimalism and frugality in this year. I was able to appreciate the small things in life. Um, I especially having peace of quiet, because I wasn't alone enough the last 5 years. Um, so once I moved myself, I was able to have again some kind of sort of solitude. Um, Something that I didn't have back probably, I would say, 5 years, six, even last year, because I was have or I go have or I have my room, but I still was living with my mother, or I have my room, but I still was having a roommate to me. So I didn't have the kind of privacy to enjoy myself. I had to do long walks. I had to, mm, you know, have some kind of certain amount of time to be alone outside, um, to find places where I could be alone without risking my life because I didn't have many places to go alone and being alone for a long amount of time. Anyway, so I had to be surrounded by, I was always surrounded by people, so it didn't count as being alone the whole time. So now that I have that this year, so I was able to be alone with my thoughts, and I have that kind of break from everything. I decided to take 1 year gap from work and college, and I decided to do focus on my projects, to focus on myself, on my self care, my self improvement, and my healing. Focus on those things that I wasn't able to do back then. Not even 10 years ago, obviously, because I like enough emotional intelligence, or probably did not experience to deal with life. I kind of was a kid back then. Even I was already an adult in age, but still was a kid in terms of how to do my life and some personal finances. Like, man, I still depend on my parents to go to college, or so I was full-time student. Didn't have to worry about working or any kind of responsibilities with the house. Then once I moved out here, I had to start to worry about rent, to be worried about bills. I had to worry about my future, about my space, all that kind of stuff that I took for granted back then. Now I don't take anything for granted. In fact, now I know that everything is temporal. I know that I bought time, enough time to be with myself, so I can now face reality, look on the brightly to the future, prepare myself ahead of what's coming for the next decade, because the world has changed. I know that kind of thing. So now I kind of feel now confident, prepared. I'm feeling kind of ready for the challenge in the future. Um, Something that I wasn't able to do 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, like, or even 4 years ago. That the first time that I lived in an out of state. Um, and then I came back because I wasn't able to make I didn't to make it at that point back then. Like, again, lack of financial education. Now that I have that, then I don't feel afraid about anything at all. I can deal with my fate. I can deal with everything in front of me for the coming years. So I had to feel bad about myself or about what I did, because it doesn't matter the mistakes that I made. What it matters is what I learned from them. I need to learn a lot. I still am learning a lot from those mistakes, because life always comes with unexpected events, with unexpected people, with unexpected things that you may even realize at the moment, but then you catch later. And I have many conversations, have many moments in my life over the last 10 years that I didn't realize back then. I didn't catch up with the idea, but now I I kind of I got it. I now understand what is it all about, um, what the future will be, and now I need to face that kind of thing, even if I like it or not. I have to deal with that kind of thing and move on with my life. Um, that's what I um, learned from this year. Also, I could develop some emotional intelligence, so I don't um, allow myself to be driven by emotions. I realized that thing too. That it was my biggest mistake that I made. Obviously, I cannot regret the mistakes that I made, because those mistakes brought me here, brought me where I am now, doing this kind of podcast, doing this kind of projects with all of you guys out there. Um, Working my projects allow me to learn new things, to learn new languages, to uh, get to know a bunch of people that I otherwise I wouldn't be able to meet in other circumstances, even back home. I was able to have people from different countries, um, So for me, it was amazing experience when I was in college for the second time in my life. I was to meet people from all over the world. So I learned from different cultural perspectives. Also, when I was by myself, I was able to meet wonderful people too as well. Um, you know, it has been an enriching experience this year, and I appreciate everything that I have gotten so far because I I visualized a lot of things. Went to my book out of state, and I was kind of concerned about my safety. Was concerned about a lot of stuff going on out there. But I don't think there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, when you um, find out about your traits, when you realize about your strengths, your weaknesses, you acknowledge weaknesses, so you turn weaknesses into strengths, then nothing will beat you because you're strong enough to deal with adversity, to cope with stress, to deal with the people that may not like you, but just to know to manage any kind of problem with them or any kind of disagreement with them so you can get along with them. So you don't have to gain people to feel okay with yourself. You just need to make things work for you, regardless of the circumstances, the scenario, the environment that you are in. You can change your environment. You want to change yourself, move out to another place. Um, that could be other state, it could be other country as well. Learn new language, new culture, to learn about new people. Change your environment, that would be in another place, to learn about new people. That's the only thing that you can do. Once you move out to another place, then you can change yourself. And I realized that. Now I'm a different person than I used to be back 1 year ago. Like I'm no longer the same person. I don't think the same way. I don't feel the same way anymore. Like I feel now more calm, kind of have more temperance than I used to be back 1 year ago. And I don't allow myself to uh, get mad for anything. Like now I kind of calm, kind of more relaxed, kind of more normal thing. Everything's kind of normal for me now. Like, and I used to many stuff that I probably 1 year ago I wouldn't imagine that I was able to deal with that kind of thing. Now I can. So it's amazing, kind of thing to have that kind of break. Uh, Also, my interpersonal relationships improved a lot. My relationship with my mother improved a lot since I moved out by myself. Um, and with other relative members as well because I learned that I need to get along with them too, for any kind of reason. But it's how it is. That's how social dynamics work. So you need to make sure that everything works for you. Um, Life is tough, like at any age. Life. Um, you may well feel lonely for moments in life. I still have kind of have the feeling for at the beginning of the year that I feel kind of lonely. But now I feel like, nah, I kind of okay with this. I kind of used to this now. I can deal with anything. Um, Now I know that I can't allow people to come alive. Also, I need to allow to let them go. So I am not concerned even about that kind of thing. Also, I need to allow myself to be out on other people's lives. I cannot always be there for everyone. I know that kind of thing. I also acknowledge that most people won't always be available for me in any time. I know what it is. Life is busy. We have a lot of responsibilities. We come out with a lot of inconveniences for the last minute. We have to solve a lot of stuff, and it's good that you have people, understanding people, so you can deal with that very much easier without making excuses um, about your mistakes, about your behavior, about your way of thinking to others. So, because it's okay to make mistakes, but also it's okay to review all of them carefully and start to work on solutions because you have reached a point where you have to solve every problem in your life by yourself. Um, Like I mentioned in the video, you are nobody will be there to save you. Nobody will be there to rescue you every time that you go in trouble. You need to deal with that kind of thing. Try those things, and I have been facing those scenarios even like 5 or even 3 years ago. I faced that kind of scenario, and I overcome that kind of thing. I was able to work on my first on the way, so I don't feel like, oh no, I can't do this. I feel lonely. No anymore. I feel now I'm okay being alone. I'm okay enjoy my solitude, enjoy my self isolation, doing my own thing, focus on myself, focus on my energy, on my projects, on my goals ahead, on my future. Um, Another goals will come on later. Um, Also, new people will come in my life. Actually, so I need to enjoy the people I have right now on my side. I need to enjoy them as much as I can. Once they're on another way or in their own way, uh, probably we'll never see them again. So I need to realize that as well. Also, need to realize that I can also still have friends that I still can see them even years later, and I still could be considered my friends no matter what. And I have now many of people have even reached out for uh, after many years. Not seeing them for so long now, I can feel okay with myself because now I've reached them, and it's like talking to them on a daily basis. Kind of like um, have more than with them at the end of the day on a daily basis. Even if that's the case, I can talk to them once per month or once, and I still would be my friends even years later. Yes, sometimes I could be half an hour conversation, 1 hour, and that's okay. I am okay with that kind of thing. I don't need to be around people the whole time. You know, the key that you can enjoy being alone is being surrounded by like-minded people the whole day. You need to be with people, the kind of people the whole day, have mentors with you the whole day. So you, when you come home, then you will feel okay with yourself that you can go to sleep. Pretty much. That's the only way that you can deal with this. Pretty much because it's hard sometimes, and then I'm realizing that many, I will say even much millennials, um, have a lot of difficulties to deal with this. Um, with this topic, but it's possible to deal with that. I think to go through that kind of thing. And now there are mentors, not only and, podcasts and blogs, also now in social media such as Instagram, even this platform as well. Even they also have the emails; they can reach you out, so you can talk to them and you can reach them out for emails. Maybe some of those guys will answer you, may not, but you still do it. You still get to do it because you're motivated. Um, you feel that you can count on them. You feel that you have your own space to talk to others who are like-minded. So you may bring answers to many of your doubts, many your questions for your life, because life is exciting. It's amazing. We should live every day by ourselves. That's the key of happiness. Pretty much, life also brings a lot of changes that you cannot even expect. You know, sometimes you don't see things coming up, but you deal with that kind of thing. Additionally, you also need to look at the progress that you have made for the last years of your adulthood. So you can look at how much you have changed now. Uh, Look into retrospective your personal growth, about your accomplishments, and about the lot of goals that you need to accomplish. Also, you need to focus on the results. Those results will determine the level of your performance in life and will also indicate you the amount of effort that you need to make to achieve your goals in the long run. Because daily 20 it's an experiment to learn about life. But once you reach the 30s, man, you supposed to be ready for that kind of thing, to deal with life. No, like it shouldn't be difficult for you to deal with problems, to deal with complex situations, because you will expect something different every day. Um, you don't know when it's when it's going to happen. You have to deal with that right away. So you need to learn those traits, because nobody will help you out. Not always will be someone there to give you good advice or to cheer you up when you are in trouble, when you are in tribulation. You need to learn um, to overcome, to face, to have the right attitude, to feel self-motivated to overcome those challenges. Um, and to realize that you will eventually be alone because for example, you may have your parents or your grandparents, your brothers and sisters, and even cousins and uncles right now. And I advise to get close to them pretty much, to tell them how much you appreciate them, how much you're grateful with them, and all this stuff. But you will be alone at the end because all of them you know, will end their life cycle at some point in their lives. Um, Especially your parents, your grandparents, um, and then you realize that you're alone now in this world. Yes, fortunately you have friends, but they won't always be for you. For some circumstances, so that's how reality is, how things go. Everyone has their own lives, lives in their own terms, do their own thing. Um, so you just have to look at yourself, obviously. Of course, it's not good to be kind of like the lone wolf in some sense because you may ending hanging out. End hanging out with losers. You want to avoid that, though. You don't want to be with those kind of people around you. You don't want to attract those kind of people around you as well. Especially when it comes to relationships. You may want to be alone in that in that aspect of life, especially when you talk about with other people. Means go do it by yourself. Pretty much. Sometimes it would be awkward to engage in other people's conversation. Sometimes it would be awkward to interrupt other people's interactions. Okay, or intermediate in group conversation. But if you make things kind of nice and comfortable for everybody, they will accept you and they will allow you to have conversation with you. I did it once and it worked out very well. I probably did it twice. Yeah, now I remember did it twice, and for the last 4 years, the last 2 years, and that's 2 years, and it worked out very well because I wasn't awkward, strange, or anything weirdo. So I engaged in these conversations, and I was confident when doing that kind of thing. Uh, Now I'm kind of more confident to do online as well. Of course, I no longer have personal social media like I used to, and I feel now better with myself. Pretty much that was one of the mistakes that I made to have kind of like plenty of social media accounts to begin with. So I decided just to get rid of that this year, and then I have peace of mind for the rest of my life because of that kind of thing. So I don't have to look at what other people are doing with their lives because I am no longer interested in that. I focus on myself, have some quiet, and it's nice to have that. I think to be surrounded by like many people, to have kind of like home environment, to feel home every day here, to feel that you are safe, that you're okay, um, and you can be with others, and feel protected, feel part of a community. It's okay to be part of a community, guys. I don't think that kind of thing. However, avoid losers. You need to learn how to identify those losers. Um, so you may don't never get. You may avoid getting into a toxic environment. You want to avoid that. Well, I was part of a bunch of online forums, and I realized that it was engaging into toxic conversations about the people, and it wasn't healthy. Right? And I reached a point where I got to get tired, exhausted of that, and I wanted to just get tired and decided to get out of those groups without notice. I decided that I was better off doing everything by myself, and finding and still looking for other people to talk with. Um, it doesn't have to be in WhatsApp groups or anything like that, because many times when you are part of WhatsApp groups, then people have nothing interesting to say. They talk about trivial stuff, and if you are like me that are more into deep stuff, then you might get bored in that kind of thing. That's the route. It's not for you to find people like you, either online or outside, especially outdoors, pretty much because that's the hardest, the kind of people that it's hardest to find to begin with. Um, it's easy to find online, but it's difficult when you want to meet them in person, and also to meet certain kind of people in person is tough as well. So I'm consider fortunate to meet one of them, and I have been even fortunate to meet amazing people for the last 4 years, even this year. And I'm glad that being surrounded by like minded people came into value things and to look into perspective, different perspective, to have an open mind about everything, especially what's going on now this year and will happen for the next couple of years. So it's nice to have that kind of people. Um, and also, I can always make improvements, but also I am conscious that I need to achieve results. I need to get results. I had to improve my performance to increase my productivity so that I can get results. I can achieve what I want. And that's the reason, guys, why you should always compare yourselves from years ago. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to my channel. Keep it up with your comments. Follow me on Instagram as well. So see you next time.